Yesterday we began with the Samatha Nuggahita, nurturing of settling of insight with Samatha, serenity. We have not finished with that subject. Samatha means tranquilizing, calming one's mind so that one's mind is not agitated by impurities such as raga, craving, and so on. One's mind can be agitated by raga. When craving sets in, there can be mental turbulence. There will not be calm. So also when aversion sets in, it will bring heat, not coolness, not peace. It will again agitate one's mind. Same goes with other impurities as they arise. They can cause mental turbulence. And they have the burning effect. So, being free from such undermining elements, agitating elements, or mental turbulence is what is meant by samatha, serenity. And as regards samatha, we have two kinds of samatha. We discussed two kinds of samatha, namely lokiya samatha, mundane or worldly samatha, and vipassana samatha. Vipassana samatha is insight practice. In the case of lokiya samatha, it gives rise to lokiya jhana, worldly absorptions, worldly jhana. And in the case of vipassana samatha, it is the practice of watching the characteristics of psychophysical phenomena which are subject to cause and effect. One observes these essential characteristics of this mind and body as they arise. So, and then also the penetration of the universal characteristics of existence, such as the arising and passing away of these mind and body objects, and their unsatisfactoriness and selflessness. That means they arise at their will, they are unmanageable, uncontrollable. Such a practice is vipassana jhana. In this way, we differentiate between these two things, samatha jhana and vipassana jhana. At this point, we are not to discuss the samatha jhana, the first one. We shall discuss only the vipassana jhana. As for the samatha jhana, samatha practice, a worldly mundane or mundane practice is to watch single paññatti conceptual object, pinpointing on that object, focusing on that object. Thus establish serenity, calmness or tranquility, overcoming the hindrances or obstacles to progress, and in this way one can calm one's mind, such as samatha jhana. As for the practice of vipassana jhana, one has got to establish mindfulness by watching the obvious object out of the four objects of meditation. Kaya, the object of the body; vedana, feeling; citta, mind; Dhamma, general objects. So these are the four objects. And out of these four objects, you choose the most obvious object, especially to begin with. Out of the two kinds of objects, the body object and mind object, rupa, the object of the body, object of the mind, the physical object is more obvious Hence we start with this physical object, observing the physical object in order to establish Vipassana jhana. Even among the physical objects, there are four main elements, four main objects, and dependent objects, many other dependent objects. And out of these four main objects, the object of the wind, known as Vayodhatu, wind element, is more obvious, more prominent than other physical objects. Therefore, we observe this physical object, the object of the wind, Vaya element, wind object, wind element, in the practice of Vipassana jhana. This is in accordance with the text, in accordance with the expression given in the text, Theravada Vipassana Viniveso. When you are practicing Vipassana, you start out with main obvious object, not objects which are not obvious. So you start the insight practice Vipassana by observing the most obvious object. And in this case, the obvious object is the object of the wind or wind element, Vayodhatu. And this is quite correct. This is an agreement, is what has been given in other discourses, such as the great discourse on the establishment of mindfulness. So observing these objects, all the physical objects as they arise, which are obvious, you note it with proper aiming and the application of energy. These two mental powers have to be applied all the time. You aim at the object so as to be concurrent with the object to be noted. You take an aim at the object, and then you have to apply energy. You do it energetically. You aim the object in order that the noting mind will be concurrent with the object to be noted. And you apply energy so that the noting mind will be sustained on the object of attention. This is the driving force in order to drive your noting mind to the object of attention. So you have these two mental powers, namely proper aiming or focusing, and the driving force for energy. You aim your noting mind, take an aim at the object to be concurrent. And you apply this energy, driving force, in order to sustain your mindfulness on the object of attention. These two mental powers have to be applied all the time. This can be seen from the worldly example. As much as we have friends, we have enemies, hostile people, so too in the mind. As much as there are friendly states, there are also unfriendly states. Unfriendly states are nothing but tina, meda, sloth and torpor. Now tina is given as not wishing to exert energy, being sluggish, always shrinking back from whatever you are supposed to be doing. As for meda, the second one, even if you exert energy, very soon you get exhausted. That is what is meant by meda. So these two things are very similar. And vitakka, aiming, is the opposite of tina meda. It has the characteristic of opening up so that the mind becomes spacious. Itself also is fresh and opening up, fresh and open. And also it causes your mind to be spacious and open. Just like when you have flowers blossoming, opening up, it becomes fresh. So too with the mind, when it opens up, it becomes very fresh. In the case of Tinamita, it can contract your mind. Your mind becomes contracted. You tend to shrink from whatever you are supposed to be doing. There's no freshness, no opening, no spaciousness. There's only sluggishness. When you are applying this Vitakka, aiming, the mind becomes spacious. The mind begins to open up. It becomes fresh, like the flower blossoming, a blossoming flower. So if you are not able to apply this Vitakka, in order that the noting mind will become concurrent with the object, there will be sluggishness, not wishing to exert energy, and even if you exert energy, you get exhausted. The Tinamita, the mind contracts instead of being spacious. It will not be fresh. Therefore, this Tinamita Swatantopa is the reverse or opposite of Vitakka, aiming. Therefore, you are advised to apply this Vitakka, aiming, all the time, so that the mind is always active and fresh. So these two states are directly opposite to each other, namely Tinamita, which tends to contract your mind, and Vitakka, which tends to open up your mind. These two things are directly opposite to each other. So you have to overcome this undesirable state and try to apply what is suitable, what is appropriate for you, what is advantageous, what is beneficial for you. That means apply your aiming, Vitakka, so that your noting mind will be concurrent with the ever-arising object. This is very important for the yogis. So you take an aim so that the noting mind is concurrent with the object of attention. And even if you take an aim, the noting mind may not be sustained on the object unless you apply another factor, namely energy, driving force or heroic energy. In Pali it is known as virya or adapa, ardent energy, which is applied and which makes you active and wakeful and diligent all the time. If one is not able to apply energy, driving force, then the mind will be slimy and viscous, not mobile, not active. And if you're not wakeful, you'll feel sluggish. If you're not active, then you will be shrinking back, you'll be very slow in the practice of mindfulness. Therefore you need this energy, ardent energy, in order that the noting mind will be sustained on the object of attention. You need to be diligent, wakeful and active. So you need this driving force so that the noting mind will be sustained, will be connected with the object of attention. So virya causes connection, which gives rise to vichara, that means sustaining on the object of attention, as though the noting mind is rubbing the object of attention. That is given by this jhana factor known as vichara. So these two jhana factors arise automatically in your practice, namely vitakka and vichara. Vitakka aiming and vichara sustaining. And on top of that, you need the application of ardent energy, virya. When you apply energy, it serves two purposes. That means it will not allow unwholesome things to arise in your stream of consciousness. Another advantage is it will allow the wholesome things which has not arisen to arise in your stream of consciousness. So these are the two things, two purposes accomplished by the application of energy, kriya. So in this case, when you're applying ardent energy in order to drive your naughty mind towards the object, it will overcome sluggishness, laziness, and it will take the upper, you will be able to gain the upper hand of lack of energy, laxity, slowness, sluggishness. So these are the advantages of the application of energy. Now because if one is not being able to apply energy, one will be allowing these impurities to arise in you instead of pure states of mind, because you are sluggish, you are lax, and you are slow, not active, inactive. Thus, you are said to be abused, mentally, if not verbally. And such a person is known as kusita. He is blamed as a useless person, because this person is not active, not diligent, not grateful in the practice of high-level discipline of the way of mindfulness in this case. And also, such a person will be despicable, because he or she is not exerting energy. That also is given by this expression kusita. And because one is despicable, one is not performing to purify your mind, purify one's mind, one is also said to be kosaja. Such a person also is not the hina virya, inferior energy, not the superior one. And one is said to be despicable, and such a person will be living in poverty, not prosperous, because one is living with akusala, unwholesome deeds. But if this happens mostly, those people who live their lives casually, in a casual manner, not cultivating, not taking care to cultivate their lives, enjoying sense of pleasures, devoting their life in the enjoyment of sense of pleasures, about pleasurable things, pleasurable sights, sounds, and so on. And when one becomes, one is not satisfied with what one has, one becomes dissatisfied, disappointed, in which case one may wish to do harm to others, such as killing and things like that. At times one can cause trouble, one can cause suffering to other people, and also indulge in 3 unwholesome thoughts, such as thoughts of sensual pleasures, sensuous thoughts, and thoughts of harming others, and thoughts of unwholesomeness. All these, one can be mixed up, or one can entertain these 3 kinds of unwholesome thoughts, so that one's mind becomes impure. This can cause suffering in one's life. So, because one is living in poverty, one is bound to suffer loss. What are the things one might lose? One would lose the prosperity in the form of the 3 noble trainings, such as Sila Samadhi Panya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. One will lose the 3 trainings, so that one's physical, moral, mental behaviors are not cultivated, so that they become impure and blameworthy. So this kusita, sluggish person, lazy person, the opposite of that is arada viriya, the one who has sustained energy. Arada viriya means the person who has already started the energy, started the application of energy, and this energy is being sustained. And this can lead to pegahita viriya, from arada viriya to pegahita viriya. Pegahita viriya means the kind of viriya by which when one is, for instance, lifting a material from the lower place to the higher place, now it will not go down. This viriya will not cause this one to go down, nor will it stagnate in the middle. It will only gradually go up and up. Such kind of viriya is known as pegahita viriya, which leads to finally, when one is fully energized, it can lead to paripurna viriya, fulfilled or fulfilling energy. Energy by which one's purpose is fulfilled. Such a person is known as arada viriya, and this kind of person is bound to live happily, without suffering, without poverty. So arada viriya person can live with happiness. As we have discussed, he or she will be free of these 3 unwholesome thoughts. Thoughts of sensual pleasures, thoughts of harm to others, and so on. In this case, being free from these unwholesome thoughts, one will be able to live happily and be able to cultivate, possess genuine prosperity, welfare and prosperity by way of the 3 trainings, namely sila, sikha, the training of morality, the training of concentration, and the training of wisdom. This kind of viriya, arada viriya, sustained energy, can arise at the stage of what is known as, at the inside stage of udiyabhya jnana, the fleeting momentary nature of experience, where one sees the arising and passing away of psychophysical phenomena in a very fast manner. One is seeing the fleeting away of these psychophysical phenomena. At this stage, one is said to have come to the inside stage of udiyabhya jnana. So, in order to reach that stage, one has got to initiate this driving force, energy, in order to sustain one's little mind towards the ever-arising object of attention. It has give rise to good qualities. With the application of energy, we will not be accepting the impurities and these undermining elements. With viriya, these will not be accepted by not giving a chance for these to arise in the stream of consciousness. Because you are applying energy all the time, they will not be accepted to enter the stream of consciousness. There will be no impurities, no kilesas. Because you are applying energy all the time, leading to mindfulness sati. There will be wholesome deeds with mindfulness. And with mindfulness, your mind is protected. So the mindfulness has the characteristic of the ability, the quality of protecting your mind, so that your mind is protected. If your mind is protected, then you will be secure and free from bondage of these undesirable impurities. If you are free from bondage, you will feel peaceful. So, because you become you're mindful with sati, your mind is protected, leading to security, freedom and peace. So as much as you are able to concentrate your mind momentarily on the object of attention, your mind is said to have fallen calm and collected on the object of attention, so that the mind will not go elsewhere. There will be no distraction, no restlessness, no wandering. Thus, you will be able to possess the three wholesome states, namely Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, for a dedicated yogi. So when you come to possess these three wholesome mental states, namely Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, energy, mindfulness and concentration, once you come to possess it, just try to analyze your state of mind. Will your state of mind be pure or impure? Will it be agitated or still? Will it be turbulent or quiet or calm? Will it be inferior or superior? Will it be wholesome or unwholesome? If you try to answer these questions, you'll be able to get the answers automatically. When you are causing these wholesome mental states to become continuous, arise continuously, it will give rise to powerful stream of consciousness, so that from few mental power, you will have much mental power. From inferior to superior, and from lower to higher states of become more and more powerful, from less powerful to more powerful, from weakness to strength. And such a state is known as bhavana, that is mind development. Try practicing in order to develop one's mind. So when you analyze this mind, this is not an ordinary mind, this is extraordinary mind. It excels manifold ordinary mentality. And such mentality is known as Adi Kusala, superior wholesomeness, and it excels manifold. It is more superior than ordinary mental states, so that it becomes strong, from weakness to strength, and from less powerful to more powerful. And such a state is known as bhavana, mind development. When your mind possesses these three wholesome mental states, namely Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, it will become, your mind will become very powerful, because they are powerful mental states. Because they are pure, they lead to purity of the mind, they lead to the development of your mind, they lead to the strength and power. Your mind becomes more and more powerful. So that there will be no chance for the hindrances or obstacles to arise in your stream of consciousness, because they are opposite to each other. They are enemies. These nirvanas are the enemies of wholesome mental states, namely Viriya, Sati, Samadhi. And this is the Pachanika Dhamma. They are opposite states, opposing states. That means these obstacles are the opposing states, opposite or enemies of the wholesome states, namely Viriya, Sati, Samadhi. With the Viriya energy, you will prevent these impurities to enter your stream of consciousness. You are blocking the path to the entry of these unwholesome mental states. And with the mindfulness, Your mind is protected because sati has the property of protection. Your mind will be protected from these obstacles. And with samadhi concentration, your mind falls calm and collected on object of attention, so that because your mind is collected, there will be no distraction, no restlessness, no wandering. It will only concentrate on one object. So, if you are able to practice this Vipassana Samadhi for 1 minute, 60 seconds, at the rate of 1 noting per second, you are said to be developing these mental powers 60 times. So, once you are able to cultivate these 3 wholesome mental states, Vipassana Samadhi, you will be free from these Pachanika dhammas, because they tend to agitate your mind, so that your mind becomes turbulent. Hence, these 3 mental states are given, qualified as Pachanika dhamme samatiti samatho. That means these opposing mental states, because these opposing mental states, or undermining mental states, that is the impurities, are calmed, tranquilized. Hence, it is known as samatha. In this way, if the yogis are able to practice mindfulness of every arising object with these 2 mental powers, namely aiming and energy, so that the noti mind is concurrent with the object, and the noti mind is precisely sustained on the object of attention, then the mind will fall calm and collected, giving rise to sati samadhi, mindfulness and concentration. Every time it arises, it will be able to calm down all these agitating elements, Pachanika dhammas. They will be calm and they will be made to cease. And this can be seen with the practice by the yogis. So, when the yogis are practicing mindfulness of these objects, beginning with the main objects of rising and falling, and every arising object as they arise, you apply these 2 mental factors, aiming and energy. If you are able to apply these 2 mental powers, then your practice will give rise to sati samadhi, so that no kilesas will be allowed to enter your stream of consciousness in order to agitate or excite your mind. And in this way, your samatha will happen as you are able to do that. So, Sayadaw urges you to be able to strive in order to give rise to samatha, serenity.